for senior citizens to be transported from hospitals having been diagnosed with COVID-19 in the midst of the pandemic back into senior citizen long-term care health centers. And now we know the true story of all of that. Thousands died. It was an attempt to cover it up by his staff, by Governor Cuomo himself. Those charges on their own are criminal and actually are more serious than the sexual harassment charges. And then, for all of us who follow the history of Governor Andrew Cuomo, and especially the Democrats who allowed him to get away with threats and intimidation, in the long-term nursing home care crisis, a brave assemblyman, Kim from Queens, arose, and because he had a personal family member who was consumed into a death trap because of Cuomo's executive order executed by his healthcare czar, he was vilified, he was bullied, he was under constant threat. Think back to Joe Percoco, who's now sitting in 6 years in a federal prison, who oftentimes, through intimidation and threats, tried to massage fellow Democrats back into line. And when the U.S. attorney had Cuomo on the ropes for corruption charges, how he was able to escape. But Percoco was the man who would constantly intimidate others not to testify against Cuomo for closing the Moreland Commission that he created to fight corruption. So we've seen this before with Andrew Cuomo through the years. It is now time for all of his enablers to come together, march into the executive chambers here if he's in New York City or up in Albany. Whether it's led by Chuck Schumer, the U.S. Senator, Majority Leader in the Senate, whether it's led by Carl Heastie or any of the other leaders, and they need to tell Cuomo, resign, and resign now. And then we have to look at the qualified immunity that he has that will protect him from losing one nickel, one dime, one penny of the $5.5 million money that he received for writing a book about a strategy of how to succeed in the midst of an emergency like COVID-19. In the streets, we say he is un disgraziato, and his worst sin is the sin committed against his father, Mario Cuomo, rest in peace, his beloved mother, Matilda, who is still alive, thank God, at the age of 89, to suddenly claim not qualified immunity, but he has cultural immunity, family immunity. It's in his DNA. It's because he's an Italian American. He has sinned against Italian American peoples by suggesting that all of us hug, kiss, squeeze, hug, grope. That is specious. And he above all people should apologize to Italian Americans for suggesting it, that that's part of our culture, part of our family upbringing, and part of our DNA. Any questions?
People, diéndome bueno.
Very much denoting zero tolerance for sexual assault. Does that go to show a lack of judgment for the people that allowed him to get close to them? Their testament to a judge's character, and not only them, but also the institutions like the Emmys who have given them their back.
No man should be above the law. Clearly, Andrew Cuomo in 2013 was suggesting exactly that. We have seen him use his bully pulpit, his very prominent bully pulpit, to attack others who have been accused of sexual harassment at the same gradation that he has been accused. All of a sudden, he says, no, don't give in to the cancel culture. Yet, wasn't he a leading person constantly suggesting that people resign, whether they were Republicans or Democrats? He was an equal opportunity accuser. And now all of a sudden, when the accusations are against him, when there is documentary evidence provided to the Attorney General, page after page of evidence, he continues to say that he is the victim and not all those that he abused. So again, it's a classic example of do as I say, but not as I do. And he needs to lead the parade. And I would hope that his brother, Chris, who has not only enabled him through the years and knows of his behavioral problems, as any brother would know of another brother, would not act like Alfredo, but would stand up to his own brother and use his bully pulpit on CNN and condemn his actions. Now that there is documentary evidence, you could always say before this it was questionable, the evidence wasn't in. Tish James presented the evidence, it was voluminous. I think it is incumbent upon Chris Cuomo himself, for all the times that he embraced his brother, he embellished the achievements of his brother, he had fun with his brother, to now use his journalistic pulpit to condemn his brother and talk about others, how others in families should never accept or be tolerant of that kind of behavior. I would give him a thumbs up if Chris Cuomo would actually step up to the plate and do exactly that in a public forum. Condemn his own brother. I don't expect his mother Matilda to do that. I don't expect other family members. But Chris, who has been so synonymous in giving him solace, in giving him counsel, remember he was his consigliere when these charges first were revealed publicly, should actually extricate himself from Andrew and say, my brother did wrong. My brother should pay the price. There should be consequences for your actions. For every man, every woman, and especially those who serve the people in public office.
How do you plan on delivering that letter there? Are you planning to go inside and just hand it? What's the plan for that?
Yeah, I plan on walking inside. Obviously, he has security at the ready. Hopefully, they'll let me up to the executive chambers here in New York City and give the letter. But if not, I'll at least leave it with security. And hopefully, it gets into the hands of the governor, who I would hope is very late, taking the path of former Governor Elian Spitzer, sitting down with family members, legal advisors, and figuring out a path quickly within 7 days like Spitzer did to exit so that we can get on with the business of state government and let Lieutenant Governor Holcomb take charge of the executive chamber.